So, I do have two more things I wanted to talk to you about that
Ooh.
are not necessarily a race, but it
Okay.
is, of course, racing related.
Okay.
So, the first thing I wanted to bring up is that this happened 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to bring it up, but then I think we ended up talking about so much other racing, so I didn't have time to bring it up. So, before the Canada Grand Prix,
Uh-huh.
one of the stewards of the race, Derek Warwick,
Uh-huh.
was removed from stewarding that race because he made unauthorized media comments, and the FIA was like, "Hey, you cannot do that." So he was suspended from it. So he essentially he spoke with a gambling website
Uh-huh.
and made comments about drivers. One of the things he said is that Max didn't purposely crash into George Russell.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what he's been drinking.
Yeah.
Then he also said that Lando makes silly mistakes, and then
Which is fair.
yeah, I mean, but this was prior to the
Oh,
crash.
true.
So
Okay, fair. Yeah, I forgot that
I
happened after
wouldn't,
that. Uh-huh.
you know. And then he also made a comment about Yuki and Checo. We all know that Yuki is quick, but he's a disaster. It almost shows that Perez was doing a better job than we give him credit for. Was it a mistake letting Perez go? It looks like it. So this is obviously all, first of all, coming from an FIA steward.
It's very inappropriate.
It is very inappropriate, and that's why he was suspended.
I thought at first that you were going to say that he spoke ill about maybe our FIA president or something like that.
Nothing like that.
Yeah, but I think that's definitely inappropriate because it's
going to get worse. I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
Because first of all, this is like the number one thing, which I think is so baffling. So I don't know why this guy thought it was appropriate, because like I work for a big corporation, right?
Yeah.
And our number one thing is also you never speak to the media. This
Yes.
is like one-on-one. Like you are not a media spokesperson, so you don't speak. If you get someone approached, you just like listen. And I think this is a lot of people.
Yes.
Like, because if you do this, chances are you're probably going to lose your job, right? The thing about it is, not only did he speak to this website, but he also got paid for it.
Ooh.
And then on top of that, at the beginning of the season, there was a racing steward. His name was, I think, Johnny Hambert or something like that. Johnny Herbert. And he made comments to a gambling website and got paid for it. And he was actually fired from being a steward. Whereas Warwick, or whatever his fucking name is actually going to be back on being a steward during the next race, during the Austria Grand Prix. So I'm like, okay, so one guy does this,
Yes.
and he's fired from the job,
Yeah.
whereas with the other guy, we're okay about it.
That's weird.
That is weird,
Yes.
and it's gonna get worse.
Oh gosh, I thought that was the end of it.
Nope, because this is a little bit of a different topic, but it does go into the FIA. And so the FIA, and this is something I wanted to talk about, is they had a general assembly where they voted
Oh god, here we
on
go.
changes to the governing body's statute and ethics code. And they had, so this happened on the article on Motorsport came out on June 13th. So it happened the week of June 13th.
Gotcha.
So there was a general assembly where they were voting, and a lot of people consider that vote, the things they were voting on, a victory for the president, Mohammed bin Sulayem, because of the changes that are being put into place. And the changes that were made is that, let me pull it up because I want to read it.
Yeah.
On Thursday, the General Assembly, which gathered in Macau, voted through amendments which are set to bring forward the deadline for potential presidential candidates to declare. So essentially, when someone can say they will want to run for it, increase the president's influence on the FIA Senate membership,
So messed up.
and align the terms of the Office Audit, Ethics, and Nominations Committee with the president's 4-year term. Also includes provision for potential presidential candidates to be blocked if their record calls into question their integrity.
No. Then the president himself should be called into.
It's gonna get worse.
Oh no.
The FIA members approved the statute amendments with 83.35 majority, and the ethics code changes were voted through by 88.83%. So the FIA's official quote is, the FIA has taken steps since 2021 to strengthen its corporate governance, which I already don't like, policies.
Yes.
Its corporate governance policies. And these policies guide the FIA's operations and ensure its rules, practices, and processes are robust and transparent, which we all know they're not.
No.
The proposed amendments to the FIA statutes are designed to further strengthen processes around governance and confidentiality, which this is in exact opposite what you just said. If you're saying things are going to be transparent, then you can't say in the next sentence that it's going to be more confidential. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
It's also all proposed amendments were voted through by a supermajority of FIA member clubs at the General Assembly. There was actually an open letter sent by an Austrian, the Austria Automobile Association, OAMTC, urged the FIA members to vote against the proposal. And in their letter, it said there's no urgency regarding these proposed changes. They risk further contributing to the erosion of the FIA's reputation for competent and transparent governance.
100%. That's literally what they just did.
It cannot be, and it is not a coincidence that changes relevant to the FIA's elections have been promoted by the FIA leadership at the same time as the FIA's incumbent president has announced an intention to run in those elections again.
Yes.
So this is what is also absolutely devastating is what the majority is. So it's kind of like a little bit like a Ferrari. But much, much worse. It's rotten from the inside.
Yes, 100%.
This goes back to, my whole grievance with all these big sporting organizations.
Like FIFA, IOC, all of them are
They're all rotten and corrupted from the inside out, and it's so mind-boggling. And I know that, like, Ben Sulayem, right? He is so unpopular, right? But it is devastating to hear that he is so supported from the inside, right? What does it mean, someone's integrity? So this is essentially, because there's no definition of that. So this essentially means that if I don't like that you're running against me, if I think you might win, then you cannot run.
Yes.
I know that there is a term limit and how long someone can be. So I think
for now,
and that's the thing exactly, because Ben can run one more and then he's out. I think you can do 8 years and then you're out.
Needs to be out now.
Is it maybe longer than? No, I think it's 8 years and then you're out.
But it's so frustrating, with all of these big ones, especially the FIA. If you're like a motorsport fan and you hear all the bullshit that they do, and it hurts the drivers, it hurts the sport. There's so little respect. Like, I mean, it's like literally what you said. Like, he is so unpopular amongst the drivers, amongst fans. Like, how can he be the face and head of a organization if he is so disliked, and it seems like he's only supported by people he probably put in place himself?
So it seems like he has a lot of support from people from the Americas. Also enjoys strong support from Africa and Asia, but it seems like Europe is it seems like one of the only continents that is not.
But there's also this thing of like corruptness, money.
Yeah, absolutely.
That all seems to be involved.
Absolutely.
And because there's such a lack of transparency.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just like, it doesn't help, and it sometimes taints the enjoyment of the sport.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what happened in 2021 at the end of the F1, this is a huge
upset,
huge disgrace to the sport. To have the governing body influence not only the end of a race but the end of a championship, a championship that would have marked something in history, right? And I get it. You don't want the same guy to always win, right? I get it. But if that's the way it is, then that's the way the fucking it is, right?
You cannot have your hands into this.
No, and
yes, I mean.
And it gets a little bit more worse.
No.
Sorry, guys. It's going to get from bad to worse to worser. To worse to worsers. The problem is also that a lot of people who were in power, who were opposed to this, they're no longer with the FIA. There's a lot of people within the last 3 years
dictatorship
that left or were left.
Asked to leave or encouraged to leave, or
I think so. I know that there was one of the guys, I don't remember his name right now on top of my head, who left the FIA because he was like, the power hunger and the corruption within is, I can no longer stand for it.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, this thing is like, you need to stay and you need to fight for it. But it's also, I get it. This is literally your livelihood. And if this is making you miserable, who am I to ask you to stay, right?
Yeah.
And who am I asking you to fight for this, especially if those people are also like slowly outnumbered, right? And that's what's happening. There was motorsports, there was a guy who was also, because he was speaking out against the FIA, and I think he was part of the FIA, who was actually ended up being blocked to attend an event. And it's shit like this that it's happening, and it's so frustrating that we as fans, there's not really a lot we can do, because what are we going to do, boycott watching things? That's not going to happen, right? And because I also think that, not to like toot our own horn, but I think it's really the hardcore fans that really, quote unquote, the hardcore fans that really care about this the most. I don't know if a lot of the casual viewers are aware of what's happening, because the big fiasco in F1 that happened was obviously in 2021, right? But I think we gained a lot of viewership also after that, right? Because, I mean, yes, DTS already existed, right? But maybe because what happened then was sensationalized on DTS, brought in more viewership, right? Since that, we've gained 2 more races in America, right?
Yeah.
With a lot of American viewers. I don't know if these people actually care.
Yeah.
And I'm not faulting them for not caring, right? Because in the end, you're a fan. It's, you know, and your level of fandom is not for me to determine. And I know people sometimes look down on people. It's like, oh, you're such a DTS fan. It doesn't matter, dude. Like, if you love it, you love it. And I'm not here to gatekeep this, right? But it is just, it's absolutely devastating. And I think this really just strengthens his grip on the election, going back to talking about Ben Sulayem, but also the likelihood of him getting not reelected is very, very slim.
Yes.
I don't know how certain it is that, you know, Carlos Sainz Senior Junior will not run, but Senior will run. There's obviously been talks, but it will be very, very difficult. And I am worried that Ben will come up with the idea of like, well, I think 8 years is not enough time for me, you know,
to really make a change here.
I do think there's obviously a lot of people who are voting there must be making money. There must be obviously incentives for them, because there's no transparency, because there's only confidentiality. It's not like they're saying, because like you're literally, I'm gonna put the article in the description box of this so people can read up on this themselves. I got all of this information from motorsport.com in case people want to read up on it, but it's a dark time.
So devastating
for the FIA. The good thing is, I want to say this, like, I have no anger so far with the FIM.
Okay, fair.
I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if there's some bullshit that's going to come out. But it's just incredibly frustrating. You know,
it really is.
Because I also wanted to point out this again, doesn't affect just F1. This affects a lot of sporting. This affects the rally racing. The FIA has a lot of, you know, championships that they govern, you know? So it's very frustrating.
Yes, it is. Did you say you have something else too?
No, this was the 2 things. And I'm sorry that this is ending in such a negative note.
I know. That's why I was hoping you had something like
yes, we do have 2 positive things.
Yes, I was just thinking about this.
We're gonna wrap this up really quickly. I think I was the bearer of bad news. You be the bearer of good news.
All right, so we have some good news. We talked about F1 Academy recently. Especially, I want to highlight 2 of those women who had graduated from F1 Academy. First off, I'll start off with Bianca Bustamante. She drove with the McLaren team, or with the McLaren livery. She went from there to GB3.
She's still with the elite team there?
She is still racing, but it was now recently announced that she will also, or she's now officially also joining the Formula E team. What's their name? Cupra. So she's with them now as a rookie. She was just at their race this weekend too, and they celebrated a win. So it was like
they
a great
raced in Jakarta.
So it was a great weekend for her to officially join the team and be there. So very happy for her. to see her to continue her racing career. And then also very exciting, F1 Academy champion of 2024, who's also who got sponsored the GB3 seat for this season, is now officially a rookie and sim test driver for the Nissan Formula E team with a multi-year contract. So exciting.
Yes, Abby pulling.
Absolutely thrilled for Abby when I saw that.
Yeah.
It just because I was thinking about it recently because we had talked about her in the F1 Academy video that we made. And then also like, okay, she got a seat for this season in GB3, but what happens afterwards? Yeah. So when I saw the news that she got a multi-year contract with the Nissan Formula E team, I am so elated for her.
Yes, absolutely.
So excited. I'm hoping that the testing, the sim testing position, whatever she's in now, maybe will evolve into
and I think as a rookie
seat.
Means that she will be racing on track. It's not going to be all the time.
Yes.
But I think they have like maybe a regulation in place that their rookies have to do like a race or something like that. I'm sure she might also be doing some testing or free practices.
Which is great. But I'm always hoping that things will evolve for her. But just having that and especially having the multi-year thing is, I'm so excited for her. So I think these are two great news in the world of motorsports, especially women in motorsports, that I'm so excited about.
And I will also say, I think multi-year means more than 2, because otherwise you would say it as 2 years, right? I mean, I don't know if
I like that. I like that point of view.
That's what I'm interpreting as good news. Yes. That's how I'm taking it.
Yes.
Nissan, tell me that's how it is, you know?
But yeah, so those are great news.
Yes.
And I think that finishes up. Let's end it on this positive note. We're not going to say anything else. We will ask you to please like, subscribe, follow, rate, do all the good stuff for us.
Exactly. On YouTube, we will be back on Thursday with everything that you can watch racing related this upcoming weekend.
Yes.
And then on Spotify, we will actually be back already, if everything goes well, on Friday with our review of the F1 movie that we will be watching on Thursday evening.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will be seeing you guys very, very soon.